What's up guys, in this video we'll be learning how to customize preferences and settings for Adobe Illustrator. And just like there are two types of gamers, the first types are those gamers who start their games starting a new campaign or a new game right away, and those who are starting their games by going to settings and start customizing their graphics and their shortcuts, etc. And usually that second type of gamers are the pro ones. So hopefully by starting exploring these settings, you're gonna be pro in Adobe Illustrator. So you can be accessing these preferences from many ways in Adobe Illustrator. If you have a new version of Adobe Illustrator and you have nothing selected, you can be clicking on preferences to access that one. Or if you are a Mac user, you can be accessing that one as well from Illustrator, and you will see preferences. And you can be selecting any of these settings. So you can be going to units right away or general or anything. And if you are a PC user, you can be finding that one under edit and you will find your preferences maybe in that area. Or you can be accessing that one by clicking that rocket icon in here, which will be taking you to GPU performance settings directly in your preferences. And of course you can be accessing that one as well from here. So you can be clicking maybe that one, and by default it will be opened on general settings. However, I would like to start by units so everyone can be following along, either British or American or anywhere you can be following along, guys. So you can be choosing maybe millimeters or centimeters or inches if you would like. In my case it's set on pixels, and I'm gonna be changing that one for this example to millimeters. And also you can be changing your general unit anytime by right clicking that ruler area, and you can be selecting your desired unit. So let's go back to general settings, and first thing we have in here keyboard increment, which is how far we can be nudging our objects using the arrow key, and it's always better to keep that one at low value. So for that example I'm gonna be setting that one maybe to 1 millimeter. I'm gonna be pressing OK, and let me duplicate maybe that artwork word, dragging that one, pressing Alt or Option key to duplicate it. And now we have the fill color selected. I'm gonna give it a color from here, maybe that color. And we can start moving that type around using the arrow key, right or up, down or left. And in that case it will be moving our object 1 millimeter at once. However, we can be pressing shift and moving our object to the right, which will be moving our object 10 millimeters at once. And also you can be quickly changing that value anytime if you've got nothing selected. By clicking on any empty area like this one, we will be seeing that in our properties panel we can be changing our value. Instead of 1 millimeters we can be increasing or reducing that value. So let's go back to our preferences, and here we can be changing our default constraint angle. So instead of drawing our shapes at 0, we can be starting to draw them maybe on 30 degrees or 45 degrees, which might be creative sometimes. And also you can be disabling auto add or delete feature in Adobe Illustrator. So if you keep repeating the same step, sometimes Illustrator will be auto filling that for you. And here we can be selecting the precise cursors. So if we select that one and press OK, now if we're going to select maybe that pen tool, we will see that our pen tool is looking like that X. However, in default it doesn't look like that. So let me get back to preferences and disable that one. And here we have our default pen tool shape. So it's totally up to you guys to choose your shape of your cursor. However, even using the regular shapes are not that bad. And back to preferences. Of course, this one is so nice, show tool tips. So we're gonna leave that one. Of course, we're not gonna be covering all of these options right now because some of these options are related to other tools. So we're gonna be covering more specific options in here related to other lessons, maybe something like scale strokes and scale corners. We're gonna be learning about them more in advanced lessons. We're gonna be learning more about them when we start talking about strokes in detail. So there is no need to overwhelm you guys with so many details. So without going too technical, I'm gonna be covering only main settings for you guys. And also feel free to mess with these settings if you would like, or to experiment with them. You can be resetting them anytime from here. Anyway, go to selection and anchor display, and here we have selection tolerance set to 3 pixels, which means we can be selecting objects within our artboard if we are close by 3 pixels in that case. So we're gonna be seeing that in action right now. However, also we need to talk about that one command click to select objects behind, or control click as well for Windows. And that feature is also existing in Adobe Photoshop and Adobe InDesign, and it's very nice feature as well. And here we have some settings related to anchor display, and we're gonna be covering them in detail later. However, we're gonna be pressing OK now to test these two options. So if we select the selection tool and then I start hovering near to my type, I can select it even if we're not exactly on that word, and that could be useful sometimes. And maybe if you have a very complicated design, you might need to reduce that tolerance according to your design experience. And let me draw a rectangle on top of that artwork in here. Maybe give it another color. So if I select the selection tool and maybe pressing command to select the artwork word. So pressing command will be showing that little arrow next to our selection tool, which means we can be selecting objects at the back or front like that. So back to our settings, I'm gonna deselect that one. You can see a tab as well for type, and some of these settings will be covered in typography module. However, here we have show East Asian options, and also you can be showing index options according to your language. If you're using any of East Asian languages or Indian language, you can be selecting these. And here you have the font preview. You can be disabling that one, especially if it's affecting your computer's performance, or if you're working on a very complicated design, so you might consider disabling this one. And also if you're enabling that one, you can be changing your size from here, either to small or large. Here we have the guides and grid. You can be changing your guides color or style. Instead of lines, you can choose dots. And also same for your grid options, color, style, guideline distances, and subdivisions. And same as well for smart guides. You can be changing their colors. You can be adding or removing elements from here, or you can be adding construction guides. And also you can be customizing their angles if you would like. From here you can see all these angles, or you can be inserting them manually if you would like from here. And this one also is very important. You can be changing the snapping tolerance for your smart guides. Then we have slices for web design, hyphenation, which we're gonna be covering also in typography module. Then we have plugins folder and scratch disk. According to your hard disk capacity, you can be customizing that one. Then we have the user interface, which you can be changing the look of your Adobe Illustrator. By default, it's gonna be on that medium dark. You can be going to the older versions look by selecting that gray, or even that white, which is quite awkward and feels really old to me. However, I really like that medium dark, or even you can be going to very dark gray, which is also nice but reminds me a lot of Adobe Premiere, so I'm gonna stick to that medium gray just to separate between these two applications in my mind. And you can be choosing to auto collapse iconic panels anytime if you would like. And here we have the performance tab, where you can be changing your zoom style to animated if you would like. Then we have file handling and clipboard, which is having this amazing feature of automatically saving a recovery data for you. So you can be changing that setting to make it, instead of every 2 minutes, you can make it every 1 minute or even longer times. I really recommend to keep that one selected, because sometimes your application might be crashing, or you might be losing electrical power, or anything happens, then not all your design effort will be wasted. And also I would like to remind you guys to keep saving your work every now and then. Don't forget to save regularly, okay? And also you can be changing the number of recent files to display from 0 up to 30 files. So we have that one on 20. If you're quite lazy to go and browse your design files, you might think of raising that number a bit. maybe going all the way up to 30, totally up to you guys. And lastly, we have that appearance of black settings. So there are two famous blacks in design world. We have the 100K black, which is used for CMYK printing, and it looks quite pale as you can see. It doesn't look that really dark black, if I might say that. And we have that rich black, which is looking so nice as you can see and can be used freely in screen applications and web designs. However, here you can be choosing how to preview your black on screen. Maybe you can be display or black accurately or leave them as they are in here as rich black. And also for printing, exporting, you can be changing the look of your black. However, even if you're selecting the rich black, it's not going to be affecting the color values for your black. So if you're selecting only 100 black and 0 CMY, it will be still 100 black, even if it's appearing as rich black. So this might be quite technical for you guys, but like people who knows about printing in CMYK might be concerned about that setting in particular. However, now we're done with these settings. I'm gonna be starting our fun and creative journey. So we did it just like the pro gamers. We started by customizing our settings, and we're gonna be going and kicking some backs or even some blacks in that case. So I'll be seeing you in next lesson. Go ahead and customize your preferences and feel like a geek designer.